All right, Knicks Nation, let's get into this. The New York Knicks face the LA Lakers tonight at home at Madison Square Garden, and the Knicks were looking to bounce back after losing to the Brooklyn Nets. Knicks would take out a quick lead, but after that, they would start bricking it up. They were just like Masons. And then as the Lakers were, the Lakers didn't have any prolific offense. They just got their shots. Knicks were just missing shots. But thankfully, once Emmanuel Quickley came into the game, the tone just shifted. And then the quick three-pointer, and they were right back into it. The Knicks would then enter the second quarter, being able to get a lead and ultimately end the half, having a 1-point lead just because of a lucky Dennis Schroeder shot. But then start the third quarter, Knicks would battle. The lead would go back and forth between them and the Lakers. And thanks to Jalen Brunson, man, because Jalen Brunson was the guy that was able to keep this team afloat. Without him, I don't know where they would be. Knicks would enter the fourth quarter, and the Knicks weren't able to take that lead. Lakers just got right back into it, thanks to LeBron James, Anthony Davis. We had and just lucky shots from the 3-point, from the corner three, from Brown, and then you also had some help from the Zebras tonight as well. But once again, it comes down to Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson was that dude, especially when he drew that charge on Anthony Davis late in the fourth quarter. You think the Knicks have the chance to seal this game, especially the way Brunson was playing in the second half. He would have 18 points in total in the second half. He had 10 he had 8 in the fourth quarter, 10 in the third. But you thought that with that last play, it was going to go to him. Instead, Tom Thibodeau drew up a play to Julius Randle. Don't know why you decided to go to Julius Randle in that play after Brunson was the guy who got you to that point in the game. Randle would get the ball, try to drive baseline, stop instead of attacking the rim and going for a layup. He did a turnaround, fadeaway jumper that would miss, and then we went into overtime, and we know how it all ended. Knicks didn't have a chance in overtime. Lakers were just able to get shots. Another questionable call that the ball was at the apex after Jalen Brunson tried to go for a layup, and Rui Hachimura seems like a goaltend to me. JD, I'm going to want your opinion on that, but it seems like a goaltend to me. In the end, Knicks would lose in overtime 129-123. And that's why you're all here, checking out on Knicks Fan TV post game live with me, Alex Gutierrez, a.k.a. the Stratocaster, and with me on the other side is none other than JD Sports Talk. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button for your boys. Tonight, we are taking calls strictly on the Discord. And remember, this show is sponsored by Manscaped. So let's talk about it. JD, my guy. How you feeling, man? How'd you feel about this game? Can't hear you, JD. Can't hear you, my man. Why can't I hear you?
Let me get this working here.
There we go. A little technical difficulty. It's all good. It's all because of the Knicks, man. All because of the Knicks right now. Yeah, we can hear you right now. We can hear you. Now you're back out again.
What is going on, man?
There it is. Now it's working.
You hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you now.
I'm looking like Tibbs, in the fourth quarter. My mic is going in and out. Not sure why. All right, so you guys hear me good in the chat? Everybody hear me good?
Yeah, we all hear you good, loud and clear, buddy. Loud and clear.
All right, so this was a tough loss, man. I would term it an awful loss. Don't let the big names fool you guys. Don't let the names Anthony Davis. Don't let the names Russell Westbrook. Don't let the names, the great LeBron James and Dennis Schroeder and all these guys fool you. This Lakers team is not a great team. They're coming in losing 3 of their last 4 games. I mean, I feel disrespected by this loss. These guys rested their last game against the Brooklyn Nets just to come into the Garden tonight and go home with a win. I mean, how embarrassing is that? Like, how they're coming in already making this statement on national television that, you know what, we rather play at the Garden, we rather play you guys at home than play the Brooklyn Nets. That alone should have motivated this team. And yet again, just like against the Brooklyn Nets, where Julius Randle in the postgame said we weren't ready. Knicks didn't look ready to play tonight at the beginning. They came out struggling, and They were able to pick it up in the second half. They were able to pick it up after Julius Randle 3-pointer off a timeout in the first quarter, late first quarter. Julius Randle hit a 3 after a timeout, and that got the team going. They made like 3 straight baskets after that between him and Grimes and Quickley, where Quickley came in, did the fake 3, shot the 3 on the corner. That got the team going, and there were ample opportunities throughout this game that they could have taken a lead and potentially even put the game away. And it's just, bro, we lost another game, and I had mentioned after we beat the Cavs, and then we go and we beat the Celtics on this same network that the game was on tonight on TNT. You know, I had said after that game, let's go in on a little bit of a run. Doesn't have to be a consecutive win streak, but let's go and add some consistency. Let's build off this to validate the wins.
Yep.
Well, 2 games later, how do you really feel about that Cavs and Celtics win today? Does it really feel that valuable anymore? I mean, it is what it is. At the record book, it is a win against the Cavs. It is a win against the Celtics. But how do you follow that up with 2 straight losses against the Nets without Kevin Durant, and then a bad Lakers team that's still trying to figure it out? They're over here trading for Hachimura, and they're still trying to make improvements. And you lose against a Lakers team that's one of the worst 3-point shooting teams in the NBA. I think they only shot 33% tonight. Still find a way to lose. And in the end, Alex, I keep saying this. We're going to talk about different moments of the game. There was one play, fourth quarter. We had the opportunity with 3.6 seconds. I know the fans in the chat know how many times when we are on the other side of that moment, everybody's thinking, yup, we're the Knicks. With our luck, they're going to hit the shot. How many times has it happened? How many times have we seen Paul Pierce in that moment hit a game-winning shot against us? We saw it this year already with DeMar DeRozan. We've seen it a few times already this year where when we are on the other side of a late fourth quarter, last possession situation, we don't, the teams execute against the Knicks, especially at the Garden. But here we are. We got the opportunity on national TV, and we're on the other side. We finally got the ball with 3 seconds left. We finally have the ball. So it's either overtime or you get a chance to win the game, and we go to Julius Randle. And on top of that, we design a play for Julius Randle to go to the corner. How many times the Walt Clyde Frazier says, the sideline is not always your friend. Defenders want to defend you to the sideline. LeBron James, an exceptional high IQ player, as soon as he saw Julius Randle pivot to the sideline, what did he do? He went to double. Put Julius Randle in a position to make a decision. That is the book on the Knicks. And I have no idea why Tibbs decided to go that route when at this point, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm dying with Jalen Brunson. I might even die with Emmanuel Quickley in that position over Julius Randle. So disappointing loss. And, who knows is after a game like tonight, Leon Rose thinks he needs to get OG and Anunoby because Lord, do we know that Tibbs needs all the help he can get.
So let's go to that, all right? Because let's pull up that tweet by Ian Begley right now because Ian Begley did tweet out that Thibodeau on the last play of regulation had this to say. There's 3 options on that play. So they have to read the defense. LeBron was on Jalen and Davis was on Julius. And depending on what they're doing, they can go either way. So there are options. That's why play is set up the way it is. So it's, I don't know, man. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing in that play? What do you do? Are you going back to Brunson? Do you want Randall to go driving down the middle to go barreling in and go do the layup? Are you drawing a play for Emmanuel Quickley? I mean, he was in there over RJ. RJ was benched for the rest of the night. So what direction are you going with this team?
Listen, man, I guess we have to watch the film, Can we postpone the show so we can watch the film 5-6 more times, and then we can give a more of an answer? I'm sure that's what Tibbs would say. I understand the logic there, but here's the issue. How relevant is that in a 3-second situation? It's not enough time. I mean, you're only reading the defense once you see who's matching up who once on the inbounds. That's the only reading of the defense you're doing, because once the ball inbounds, there's not that much opportunity to throw 2 or 3 passes around the court. So let's be honest here. In that situation, unless you're designing a quick one-pass play, you're going to one guy and you're saying he's going to, decide the game for us. And when he talks about, Davis being on Julius and LeBron being on Jalen, I mean, at the end of the day, are you saying that Jalen can't score on LeBron? Because Jalen was scoring on a lot of wings tonight. They had Hachimura on him. They had Troy Brown on him. Those are 6'7", 6'8" guys, right? And Anthony Davis, a former Defensive Player of the Year, who is a shot blocker.
Yeah.
He can contest a shot. So I would rather actually go with Jalen being able to, do a quick one-step jab move and get some type of shot, because at the very least, we've seen Jalen being able to get a shot over a bigger guy.
Mm-hmm.
The issue with going to Randle, that situation is when you bottle Randle up, he either stops his dribble and kind of gets stuck, doesn't know where to go, or he throws up an ill-advised shot. So to me, when you're looking at 3-4 seconds, I would think it would be easier to guard a Julius Randle than it would to guard a Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson at those times is more on the aggressive side than passing the ball, but he still can pass the ball. He still has that ability to beat you with the pass. If he sees a play, he goes to it. So that's why I understand what he's saying. He has to give an explanation, but I don't necessarily agree with that at that moment.
Yeah, I agree with you. You go to Brunson in those moments. I mean, even when I spoke to CP in the past about this, when we saw the clutch numbers from Fred Cassidy tweeted out not too long ago, you just see how good Brunson is in the fourth quarter, and the way that he was able to draw fouls through both the third and the fourth. Look, you got your 18 points. All right. He had 37 points tonight. The dude's cooking. Go to the guy who's cooking. And we've seen it before. And you see, even when he's going to the paint, he's drawing contact from anybody. He's not afraid to attack the rim. If Randall's going to do it, you just got to attack the rim, man. Try to draw the foul. Try. Okay. That's all I'm asking for. That's all I'm asking for. Next question I got for you. RJ was benched in the fourth quarter, my man. And we had the lineup of Brunson, Emmanuel Quickley, Quentin Grimes, Julius Randle, and Isaiah Hartenstein out there. Now, I didn't think RJ had it going tonight. Even though he had a little bit, he was starting to attack the lane pretty well in the third quarter. But I thought defensively, he was still a little shaky, man. I thought he was a little shaky tonight. And I wasn't upset with Quickley closing out the game just because Quickley brings that energy. It's another ball handler just in case you want to get Brunson free out there. So I was okay with that move. Granted, I understand like the optics of seeing RJ on the bench in the fourth quarter after you're getting a contract extension. But yet, if we're going to hold players accountable, you're going to ask for guys who are performing well. Quickley's been performing well for the past couple of weeks. He's been a key part, too, next to Jalen Brunson right now, and even Randle, for why this team has been succeeding. So I wasn't too upset to see him and Grimes on the floor at the end of the fourth quarter. What were your thoughts on that?
Listen, man, it's hard. Let's be honest. RJ was terrible tonight. He was terrible tonight. He's one of the big reasons why the team didn't win the game. Let's just be honest about it. He's a big reason why the team was in that position. I don't think he made a three. I believe he was 0 of 3 from 3 tonight. Only had 3 rebounds, 13 points, 27 minutes, only played 27 minutes. And the continuing frustration with RJ for me is it's year 4, and defensively he continues to get beat backdoor. Like he continues to be lost on plays where the wing would cut behind him, and he just has that snap second where he just gets stuck. And then by the time he catches up, the guy's already ahead of him and gets a shot or is able to create a play for a teammate. That type of thing is concerning. That's year 4. You haven't made an adjustment there defensively. I don't think the fit is perfect for him. I don't think this is a great fit. And the dilemma with RJ is, how good a player is he to where the coach and this franchise want to create an environment to, put him in a position to where he succeeds? Because I've always used this word clunky with this starting 5. I used the same word last year when they had Evan Fournier, and I talked about the slow foot speed. And they're thinking about adding OG, who I don't think is he's a decent athletic player, but I not necessarily think you're adding foot speed to the starting lineup. So that to me would be even more clunky. This is just not a great fit between him and Julius Randle, and I've continued to say that. The issue is RJ a bigger priority to this franchise than Julius Randle? Because I think we can have all the discussions, Alex. I think the conversation comes to that. Who's a bigger priority to Leon Rose, to Tom Thibodeau? Is it Julius or is it RJ? Because I think that's going to dictate the futures of both of those players on this team. And I think that's also going to dictate how they want to build the rest of the roster. And the reason I say that is because if you decide that RJ is a bigger priority, then you would be more flexible to smaller lineups, putting RJ in a position where he's with more athletic players around him or with more shooting around him. You would be more flexible to having him, play make a little bit more in these things. Here's the other dilemma to that, though. Is RJ good enough to warrant that type of responsibility? That's another conversation. So there's different layers to the whole RJ Barrett dynamic with the New York Knicks. But tonight, he wasn't good. He wasn't good, man. He just wasn't. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating because put some pressure on the franchise. I understand this is not a good fit, but it's kind of what I've been saying with Mitchell Robinson and the Knicks, right? Mitchell Robinson is going to be a big conversation. The Knicks do need him. Their defense has been bad since he's been out. But even with that, Alex, we still have had an opportunity to win these games without Mitch. So you find a way. Julius has found a way with Jalen Brunson this year to play better. Jalen Brunson has come in here and he's played great. And RJ has been, I think, very inconsistent and at moments very frustrating as a player.
And I agree with that. Look, and this is where you start to see and you wonder about, when you hear, even when you listen to Begley today, right? He brings up the wing options with Sadiq Bey, right? And even in those conversations, or even before that, where he was talking about OG Anunoby, in that same video, you hear Thibodeau really being keen on Quentin Grimes, and you see why. You see how, Quentin Grimes made impactful plays tonight, even though he didn't hit a 3-pointer tonight. He went 0 for 5, but yet still went 6 or 12 from the field, was aggressive in attacking the lane. He had that sick dime to Isaiah Hartenstein over the back. You know what I mean? And he just offers, it's stuff like that where you start seeing, that's the type of thing where even when you start talking about OG Anunoby coming to this rotation, and I bring it up where you bring up foot speed, I bring up a connector, I bring up a guy who relentlessly cuts, I bring up stuff that starting unit lacks, man. That it lacks. And with Grimes out there, you see what happens when he gets going. Outside of just shooting 3 and playing defense, there's more of an easier flow to the game. And that's why the OG Anunoby thing's just, I get it. The price is also not where I want it to be, but let's keep this thing moving, man. One more question for you before we start taking some calls. Isaiah Hartenstein closed out this game tonight. He played, he had 40 minutes today. Jericho Sims only had 13 minutes. What'd you think about that call?
It's tough because he comes out plus 10, 16 points, 13 rebounds. 7 offensive rebounds. So you talk about playing that kind of Mitchell Robinson role of getting offensive rebounds. He covered that tonight. 2 of 2 for the free throw line. Do I blame him for that 3-point shot in overtime? I mean, it's ridiculous that he's taking the shot. A key moment in the game, and we're going to Isaiah Hartenstein. It reminds me of what Stephen A. Smith used to say, Rasho Nesterovic. We go to Isaiah Hartenstein and to shoot a three. The guy hasn't shot a three I don't know how long, right? And he shoots a three. Do I blame him for that? I don't. The 40 minutes, I mean, what are we talking here? You know, it's probably a little too much, but this tips, right? I don't think Sims minus 16 in 13 minutes. He looked a little bit overmatched tonight. You would still like some more balance. You still like the player to get a little bit more of an opportunity to gain that experience. But, you know, for him to play 40 minutes, go 7 to 10, he had a solid game. Gave you a little bit of Nerlens Noel flashbacks with the stone hands in key moments. But I mean, if you're going to get this type of production from him, you're going to take it, right? You're going to take it, especially without Mitch. So though he had a solid game overall, been playing a little bit better, you know, lately.
Yep.
And you know, what more can you want from a player like this? I mean, you're asking to play 40 minutes. You're expanding a role player's role. When players get too many minutes, you're eventually going to see some weaknesses. So I don't hold the minutes against him because that's a coaching decision.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And the thing for like Sims is that we're talking about him, you know, being pushed into a starting rotation while being the third string center on this roster. And even though he offers you that defensive versatility better than Hartenstein, and Hartenstein has played better these last couple of games, we're going to see a tough matchup this week for Sims. You know, you just had Anthony Davis tonight. You're going to get Joel Embiid this week. Okay. You're gonna have Zubac. There's competition this week for Sims.
You get Bam,
and you got Bam. It'll be tough sledding for Sims this week. So not a great start. Hopefully he can catch his legs and figure it out, because we're gonna need him. You know, we're gonna need him to play that he did against the Boston Celtics, man. We're gonna need those 14 boards, because we're playing some tough teams, especially when we get to the Clippers, man. Like Miami's going to be a tough team just because they're a defensive team, so they're going to make it. They're going to muddy it all up, make it slow, grind everything out to the play style the Knicks like to do. But it's still Bam Adebayo, who, you know, all-star consideration, and then the rest of the week we don't need to get into that right now. We're doing that, but yo, man, it's Knicks Fan TV post game live. We're here. We're talking about it. So make sure, if you want to call in and give us your takes and get all that in, we're on the Discord tonight. No phone lines. Make sure to hit those thumbs up button for your boys. Brought to you by Manscaped. And we're going to get to the phones right now, all right? So Cody Glock, get ready, man. We got to get your takes in. How you feeling? Cody Glock, what's happening, man? What's going on?
KnicksFanTV, man. Shout out JD. Shout out Alex, man. Shout out Manscaped. I average 0 turnovers because of Manscaped. I take care of my ball. Flashlight action. It's been a tough little week and a half. I mean, Cavs and Celtics, like JD said, man, what does it really mean after that, man? Like, we see the Nets take care of business against the Lakers yesterday, and just for the Knicks to just, like, blow it off like that, man. Like, come on now, man. RJ, it's like everybody's looking expendable except for, you know, my main man, Mitchie. He's not no snitchy. And JB, you know, those are the only two people that's not looking really expendable for the Knicks right now, man. Like, and I'm tired of the chat saying OG's not that good and he ain't gonna cut it for the Knicks. Then they're not putting enough respect on OG, man. I'm sorry my voice is a little low. My baby's sleeping and stuff. I ain't trying to wake up.
I thought you were just very depressed about tonight's loss.
Nah, it's the baby. I ain't trying to wake up, man. RJ had some seeds in his kush, man. I don't know what's up with him lately. I mean, last game he put up some numbers, but what does the numbers really mean when you get a result like this and the loss after the Nets? Like, it's just a lot, man. We miss Mitchie, man. Mitchie gives everybody confidence on the perimeter because they know they're going to funnel him to Mitchie, and Mitchie's going to just grab that and do something, man. We need him back, and we do need OG, man. That's my take. Rapid fire, man. Shout out lawnmower, flashlight action, man. Come on.
And that was Cody Glock on the line. Appreciate you calling in, Cody.
Trade for OG.
Trade for OG Anunoby. All right. JD, you weren't on weekly with us last night. And I know you just
gotta ask me.
Of course. Why would I not ask you? Trade deadline season. Gotta get your thoughts, man. I mean, you talked a little bit about it. What are your whole thoughts on the entire OG Anunoby situation to begin with?
Yeah, I'm on the fence, bro. I'm on the fence. There's one day I wake up and I say, all right. The other day I go, I think when you're on the fence, to me, it comes down to what the price is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to. People are saying too easily unprotected. Like, you sure? I mean, when a team, like, let's look at their current performance right now. They're 3 games over 500, but it's a weird thing because the team is technically, I guess, ahead of last year. I mean, they're better than last year, but it's like the way that they got to this point, right? You're 3 games over 500. Any little 3, 4, 5 game winning streak, you're boom, 8 games over 500. But they still haven't been able to show you that because we win a few games, we win 8, we lose 5, we win 2, we lose 3. That thing scares me when you're talking about giving up an unprotected for a guy that's not a star player. Mm-hmm. Because when you look at OG's injury history, it's not good.
Mm-hmm.
It's not good. And I don't care that he tore his ACL in 2017. He's been able to recover from that in terms of explosion and stuff like that. But it's all the other injuries he's had where he's playing 40 to 40-something games. What if that happens and Tom Thibodeau's here and this team is going on these, like, things just hits the fan? You just gave up an unprotected pick. Anything can happen at that point. I think when in the end, when you're looking at giving an unprotected pick, meaning, we have one injury, this guy could get we get a top 10 pick. When you get to that point, you better be sure that the player you're getting is taking you to a next level of a record and as a team. And when I say as a team, I'm talking about OG comes here for an unprotected pick, and we can lose Julius Randle for a month and we won't miss a beat.
Mm-hmm.
We can lose, Jalen Brunson for a month and we're still going to be competitive. Like, you have to have a team that's able to overcome that. Like the Denver Nuggets. Denver Nuggets didn't have Jamal Murray, and look at how they were able to still be a good, solid team. Like, if you're not on that level to where you can overcome adversity, you can overcome injuries, then I'm okay giving an unprotected pick for said player. I don't know if OG gets you that. And I'm just not the biggest fan of this coach, so it's tricky for me to do that trade. Now, if you're talking 2-3 of the protected, then maybe. The last thing I'll say, Alex, if they do get OG, and this is just my personal perspective, I think RJ's in trouble.
I agree with that.
If they get OG, I think RJ's future here immediately becomes in question, because I just don't see how you can just put RJ at the 2, who I do think it's actually a little bit more of a natural position than the 3, but you're adding to the clunkiness between OG at the 3, him at the 2. Like, you don't have that dynamic. So I think when you look at how easy they were ready to trade him for Donovan Mitchell, when you see now how easy Tibbs is willing to bench him, obviously it's warranted because IQ's playing great, but look how easy it is. Does he do that to Julius? I mean, Julius was like 3 or 14 at one point this game, and Obi's coming in hitting a 3, and Obi's still getting benched after 3 minutes.
I was shocked actually Obi came back in the fourth quarter, to be honest with you.
You see what I'm saying in terms of, I don't know that this coach and this front office are big RJ fans. So I just look at the evidence, and I think if they make this move, then unless RJ comes in and just really puts, like I said, puts pressure on the organization, his days might be numbered.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at three things, right? Leon Rose wasn't the president of basketball operations who drafted him, right? Scott Perry was under that regime, but he's the only guy from that regime that's still left over. You saw how they were ready to move him for Donovan Mitchell, right? You see that. And then if you did go out and get OG Anunoby, I agree with 100% with you. I think like it's manageable at the two, especially with Mitchell Robinson protecting back there. But then I don't know why you would want to lose the speed of Quentin Grimes, man. And we just keep hearing how much Tibbs really loves Quentin Grimes. I find that to be very difficult. And so even though you wouldn't be able to trade RJ this season, I do agree that you're putting him out there if you do go get OG Anunoby. Definitely for the following season.
And I think, like I said, I think before any decisions made on Tibbs in terms of the future, they're going to make a trade and give Tibbs an opportunity to go to the next level. I mean, when you overcome the pressure, the fan pressure, the calling for his job over the past couple years, and he survived that. To me, you get to this point of his contract, which was a 4 or 5 year contract. Leon Rose is not going to make a decision until he gives Tibbs one more player, whether that's OG, whether that's someone else in the offseason. They're going to make an attempt, and that's, to me, because of their loyalty to the head coach. And I think the more they extend it, the more time they buy themselves. If they make a move tomorrow, they go with Johnny Bryant, guess what? The clock starts ticking on Leon Rose. Kind of like an NFL in the NFL. Once, you come in and that quarterback is not your quarterback, and now you get your quarterback the following season, a.k.a. Robert Saleh with the Jets, the clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. That's just the way it works. And I think Leon Rose knows that. So the more he sticks with Tibbs, the more that times that he buys for himself.
Oh, for sure.
Well, when they make that one move and they start giving up that unprotected picks and they start doing either from the head coach or from a player, then they're going to start to get looked at closely. So this is why I just don't know if I trust this front office, man, because if they rock with Tibbs, they're going to go with what Tibbs wants. I mean, think about it, Alex. The number 8 pick. Say what you want about Obi. Say I have questions about Obi's ceiling and all that stuff. But, bro, in year 3?
Year 3.
Year 3 of Leon Rose had his hands up. You saw that photo when he drafted him.
Oh, yeah.
And for them to rock with the fact that this guy, when he plays 15 minutes, we got to take a shot of tequila to celebrate. I mean, it's to that point, and they're rocking with that. How does that not tell you that they're listening to the head coach, that they're being loyal to him?
That whole situation.
You trust that? Because if you don't, we're gonna see they're gonna try to build this team around what Tibbs want, and they better be right, man. Because when you do this, you can set a franchise back long term.
We got people in the chat saying you want OG Anunoby to get your guy Cam back in here. Actually, we are now changing the show to the Obi and Cam show because we got the Obi and Cam representatives. Now I'm just playing. We're going to go back to the lines, though. Let's go back to the phones. Nick Rinaldi, we're bringing you on the line, man. What's going on, Nick? How you doing? What do you got to say?
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm gonna try to keep this as rapid fire as humanly possible. First thing, Grimes played super well tonight, in my opinion. I'm just really excited, to see, his future, his growth on this team. Obviously, the shooting is a little, something to keep an eye on right now. But I think the shots will fall eventually. He's only in year 2, and that pass late in the fourth quarter, running the pick and roll with Hartenstein, that was filthy. So he was just a positive that stuck out from the game. One negative thing I'm going to talk about is, why do you guys think Tibbs made that play call at the end of the game? I just don't get it. If Brunson was cooking, why you would draw up a Randall ISO, or if the play fell apart. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. That's it. That's all I got.
Appreciate it, Nick. Have a good one. Why do we thought the play design was like that? It's questionable because you had Brunson as the inbounder. I don't know. I kind of think like we hear that read and react situation, and we go back to that tweet by Begley, so we don't have to go too much into it. But I don't know. It should have gone to Brunson. Brunson was the guy cooking. I felt like Randall should have handed it right back to Brunson, who was right at the top of the key, could have drove right down the lane. He's been doing a good job at drawing contact all night. I felt like that was the guy who should have done it. That's just my opinion.
I think it's when you have an 82 game season, you are exposed to these situations. Like they're gonna be many more games for the second half of the season. I think coaches just, sometimes you try to get too cute. Sometimes it's, for example, let's say you go off, the last 3 games, for example, right? You've been in late fourth quarter situations and Brunson maybe hasn't been so successful. So now, you're in that same situation. So the coach is probably thinking, well, let me try another option for this game. Like let's go to option 2. Let's play decoy. Let's see how they, and I think it's just a mix and match of plays where in a full season, you go with a decoy kind of play where everybody's think it's going to go to him. Their defensive set is probably designed for this player. Let's go to this player. You've seen it. Sometimes it works.
Yeah, sure.
Right. Sometimes it works. Look at that play against the Grizzlies.
Yeah, with Cam, Cam knocking down that 3, man.
Cam. Grizzlies fell asleep. They probably felt this is probably going to be a Julius off the inbound, or maybe Brunson's going to get the ball back, and it was Cam, right? So that happens in a season. But I just think that you got to read the game, got to read the room, got to read the rhythm. And tonight, Brunson had it all night, and I just felt like you should have went with him to close the game, no matter what the circumstances were.
And I feel like and I've said this on the show a couple of times, I feel like that's what Tibbs is. One of his weaknesses is that he's not feeling the rhythm of the game. Guys who are, who have the hot hand, who are mean mugging throughout the game, who are really energized, and you got to keep feeding them because they're just in a zone right now. Like, we're human, man, and players are human. Like, they're like, we play pickup ball, you realize when someone's cooking, you're just like, yo, that guy's got it going. Don't go away from them right now. The same thing translates into the NBA, that when a guy's cooking, a guy's feeling it, and there's just no rhyme or reason. Sometimes, it's like Mel who drops 60-plus points on the night. And you're just like, yo, he's got it. Just keep feeding him. You know what I mean? And for Brunson, in this case, he's the dude that's drawing the charges. You're seeing it. You're like watching it all unfold. You see the 18 points in the second half. You see that Randall has the entire night. I sent out a tweet asking for him to stop shooting threes. At some point, you have to realize as a player that, all right, it's not working for me. And then as soon as he went driving in, getting to his mid-range shots, going down the lane and bully balling, he got back into a rhythm. But then he went back to trying to shoot threes again, especially that one chuck. I was like, come on, man, we don't need a heat check. We don't need a like a whatever 3 in this moment. Like we're trying to win here. Like let's do this. Let's stay locked in. And like I just don't know how you can't see Brunson doing it yet again. I get the whole decoy thing. You got to figure it out and switch it up a bit. But the Knicks are in a position right now where if you're Tom Thibodeau, if you're this entire team and you're trying to save your job, you're trying to make the season impactful, every win counts against a Lakers team that is struggling. They just got Anthony Davis back, and we're going toe-to-toe with them. They're top-heavy, man. You can argue that when they're both at their peaks, you got 2 of the top 5 best players in the NBA. And we went toe-to-toe with them. You know what I mean? So
I think he got flashback. I think he got flashback when he saw LeBron on Jalen Brunson. He got nightmares of the days that LeBron James in his prime with the Miami Heat used to shut down Derrick Rose in the fourth quarters of those big games. So he's like, oh, maybe he's gonna shut down Jalen Brunson in this big spot. That's probably what was on his mind, jokingly. Other than that, I mean, I don't know what was the what was the thinking there, but hey, hopefully they learn from that bad play call, and next time they go to the high hand.
Hopefully the next time. But Let's get back to the lines, man. Let's get back to the lines. We got the official Michael White on the line with us. Michael, what's going on, man? How you doing today? Michael, are you there?
Here, can you hear me?
Yes, Michael, we can hear you. How you doing?
Oh, fine. You know what? I'm really looking for them to trade poor Obi. You know, I mean, I hope they trade him. I mean, it's just torture to watch these games, and you know, Julius was having a bad night, and you know, he can't even get the normal minutes he gets in the fourth quarter. You know, I think there's an issue, you know, with with the Knicks, and you know, we should have won the game tonight.
So then where do you want to see who are you trading Obi to, and who are you trying to get back in return? What do you think the Knicks should do?
I don't know what we should get back in return. They don't think much of him, so they shouldn't want too much back. They don't play. I mean, who knows what Obi is? But I'd like to see him go to Indiana or Dallas.
Indiana or Dallas? So you're thinking about Chris Duarte back? Who in Dallas are we Dallas are we getting back?
You know, I don't be honest, I don't care who they get back, because you know, I'm just disgusted at the way they've treated him through these 3 years. You know, tonight was the worst example I've ever seen. I mean, he never gave him a shot to play, man, and that's not right. But I mean, they've got other issues. Yeah, I mean, it's just what it is. I mean, the guy's he's going to be in a contract year next year. I mean, if we don't trade him at the deadline now, I mean, it's really not fair to him. He's got a contract to try to make, and he's not going to get it with, you know, 5 or 6 minutes a game.
Yeah, he's not. And appreciate the call, Michael. Look, it's been a tough ride with the Obi situation here. Me being part of the Obi Hive, I wanted to see him get more minutes. I wanted to see him play. Every time he hits a three, and next thing you know, he's going back to the bench. So makes no sense. I'd like to see him get more minutes, but Tibbs is going to do what Tibbs does, which is he's going to rely on his top players, the guy who all those guys will log the most minutes, and it can be frustrating because when you look around the league and guys who are getting rest so that way they can be conditioned for the time that matters, March and April, and thinking about playoffs, you know, they're not going to be burnt out. But hey, be like,
it's tough. It's tough as a Knicks fan. It's tough to see because, you know, the city, we get very attached to homegrown players, right? Like that's just, I mean, I don't know what organization or what market doesn't, because everybody wants the homegrown players to be the stars of your team. You want those players to be a big part of an eventual championship contender. Like that's the whole point of these drafts. That's the dream of many fans. Fans prefer, ideally, in a dream scenario, you know, when you become a contender, you want more than half of that team, that roster, to be homegrown players. It just feels more satisfying. It feels better. And you just have more fun that way. But so it's just tough to see this situation. What do you say about Julius? You know, Julius has earned the play. I don't know that Obi has earned the opportunity to play more than you know, in terms of his performance, because he has nights where, like tonight, like, you know, Randall has an off night to start out. You know, let's give Obi 6-10 more minutes. And it's, you know, you continue to stay with the same template, you know, coaching, and you go a night like tonight, like many nights, and Obi has a good shooting night, and there's not much more that you see from him. The danger about a situation like this is people say, I want to see him go to Indiana. I would love to see him go to Dallas. You know, put him in the Phoenix Suns with Chris Paul. You think Leon wants that? You think, you know, that's the fear, where you give up on a player and you actually trade him to, you know, a good situation, And what if he blossoms? It's funny because with the Toronto thing, I could actually see him going to Toronto. I've seen some Raptors fans hit my inbox and say, JD, what do you think about his defense? Because they think if he's a Raptor and he doesn't play defense, they don't think Nick Nurse will play him much. So he might walk into a similar situation. Maybe that's a situation the Knicks front office wouldn't mind him going to. Let's trade you somewhere where you're not gonna, make us pay. So that's also an interesting dynamic when you trade a young talent. Is sometimes the front office doesn't really want to, trade you to the best situation for you. Look at the whole Cam thing that's going on. And I hope this doesn't turn into another Cam situation. Because, man, it's so looking that way. If we go this season and he's still here next year, what's going to change? Nothing's going to change. You're going to go into a contract year where teams know he's in a contract year. His value is going to get even lower. I mean, this is very mind-boggling for me, man.
Yeah, it's tough. But the thing I will say about this is that if he does trade Obi, you hope that on that trade you're on a winning side or equitable trade. You know what I mean? Because then it won't look as bad. But if you start talking about getting fleeced or not giving the guy opportunity and then you didn't get really anything in return, and it's hard because trades don't usually easily end up like that, it's going to look 10 times worse. Yo, JD,
smiling tonight. I'll tell you that. Masai Ujiri is smiling tonight because he's saying, "Oh, the Knicks lost." Earlier today, there was a report that the Memphis Grizzlies could make a run at OG. The Masai Ujiri leaks, the leverage plays are starting. He's happy every time the Knicks lose because he's probably thinking, hey, there's going to be pressure on that front office. You better not get fleeced by Masai Ujiri because he's definitely another low-key Danny Ainge.
Hopefully not. But, yo, JD, let's go to buy the numbers for this game because this game, it felt like, since we know that this is a winnable game, we know that this was a winnable game, but it felt like there was just key moments throughout the night that we just saw this just go sideways, right? Whether it was like the 3-point shooting, trying to go like match or try to beat the Lakers from downtown. Like Lakers went 11 for 33, Knicks went 7 for 34. We talk about, the free throws were obviously the same tonight. Nothing biggie. About how many times we got to the line, I should be exact. But the place that I was looking for the Knicks to actually do better was, rebounding. We kind of just essentially tied. Nothing too great from there. And I'm also looking at the turnovers, man. Points off of turnovers. We won, let's see here. We won the turnover battle. We got 22 points off of their turnovers. But it didn't seem like we could capitalize on any of those moments. So the biggest thing, though, is 3-point shooting for me. Knicks just tried too much to compete. But, hey, that's sometimes how it breaks. What were some of the key thoughts from you by looking at some of these numbers?
It's tough, right? Because like you mentioned, you look at these numbers and it's like, okay, we shot a lot of comparables here. We shot 32 free throws to 31, and we shot 87.5%. Rebounds, we are rebounding by 1. We have more offensive rebounds. Steals is the same. We have less turnovers. We had 9 turnovers. You don't win a game. They have 14. 62 points in the paint. The Knicks continue to, and that was also good because you have Anthony Davis in the paint. And you still were able to, score 62 in the paint. You look at these numbers, man, how did they lose this game? Right? So to me, I will say from a positive standpoint, 87.5% from the free throw line. When you do that, you're going to give, especially this team, you're going to give yourself an opportunity to win. I will say, though, when you look at, bro, you saw that Dennis Schroeder shot?
I hated that shot. I hated that shot so much, man. That was like the luckiest shot of all shots.
Bro, I don't even think, can Stephen Curry do something like that? That was wild. Like, he literally did a Curry. Like that was even more blatant where Curry shoots the corner threes and then he just looks off, but he still looks at the ball a little bit. And once he sees halfway, he has confidence going to go in. Bro, Dennis Schroeder threw it up with a contest, mind you, with a contest, throws it up, and he starts turning around like, man, forget this. And he made the shot. When you look at that three-point shot, and then you look at the Max Christie, he had a wild shot from the corner quickly too. Falling away. That's 6 points right there. And what was the final score? 129, 123. Those two wild shots, you lost 6 points right there in tonight's matchup. I don't think I've ever seen something like that.
You know what also annoyed me, man, is that we had Brown Jr. just knocking down threes, like critical threes in this game. So between the Dennis Schroeder heaving up a prayer and just like not even caring. He didn't even think it was going to go in. He played it off so well, like nonchalant, like, oh yeah, cool, I did it. But like he didn't think that thing was going in. Between that, Brown Jr. Rui's looking good for the Lakers though. Got that guy.
It's funny when you give up a few second round picks and you play a wing. He's looking good with the Lakers, right? I wonder if the Knicks have someone that maybe could be in a similar situation. But I'm not gonna go there.
Talk about playing a guy that you traded for. Talk about a guy that you didn't play at 8. We got the Resident Hives tonight. You know that action. You know that action tonight. All right, but hey, those are by the numbers, and by the numbers is presented by or brought to you by PrizePicks. So, PrizePicks, if you don't know about it, it's a fun way where you can just choose players, up to 2 to 6 players, to score more or less than, points, rebounds, or whatever the respective the sport is. If it's football, passing yards, rushing TDs, so forth. You can choose up to 2 to 6 players, and you can win up to 25 times your money for any entry. You're not competing against any other people. It's just you versus the projections that are available. And, it's available for all sports, NFL, NBA, baseball, hockey, golf, you name it. They cover all those sports. And you can make an entry within 60 seconds or less. It's that easy, safe, and you also have quick withdrawals. So within like 5 minutes, if you feel like you want to change your mind, you could always delete it. So for tonight, it's Taco Tuesday. And had to choose Taco, on Taco Tuesday, they give you some of these deals where they had Nikola Jokic with more or less than 25.5. I decided to go with more than that. I also decided to go with Manuel Quickley more than 1.5 threes, and he hit on that. I'm still waiting for Jokic and seeing how this score is going. Let's see. I'm just pulling up right now, see where that's all at. But other than that, I also chose. I like to do these first half things, JD. I don't know about you. And Randall's usually good in the first half when it comes to scoring. He averages 9 points in the first quarter, and he can maintain up to like 5 or 6, somewhere between there, 5 or 6 in the second. So I thought, hey, tonight was going to be a lock. He shot terribly tonight. Should have gone with the rebounds, man. I was thinking about the rebounds too for Randall. I should have gone in that direction. Went completely in the wrong direction for that one. I then went with LeBron James for the combination of points, rebounds, and assists. And I believe that total was at 42.5. And he surpassed that with 49 just because I knew it's LeBron James. He's going to have to meet that. And then I also took Donovan Mitchell to get more than 12.5 points in the first half. And usually he's like the same as Randall. He's usually really good in the first half. He's averaging about 15 points between the first and second quarter. So I thought I was going to hit on that, but I missed on him and Randall in the first half. Still waiting on the Jokic unless that game is finished. But my computer's being real slow right now, so I can't even tell you what has happened in that game. There we go. It is we got 2 minutes left in the first quarter, and Jokic's already got 17 points. So it looks like I'm about to go 3 for 5. It'll be a solid night for me. Not what I want, not the full 5 for 5, which I'm looking for, but I'll take 3 for 5, get something back in return. How'd you do tonight?
I did great because I didn't play. I got in. I missed the 7:30 slot because usually like PrizePicks, if the other games when it's a 7:30 slot, the game start at like 7:40.
Yeah.
So I'm able to put a ticket in right up until tip off. but these TNT games, I always forget, like, they're really on time. These 7:30 games start at like 7:33, 7:34, either on a minute or a minute two after. So I wasn't able to get the ticket in, but I'll definitely play next time.
Right, and there you have it. So make sure to download PrizePicks or go to their website, and you can play there. And they'll do a 100% match up to $100. So if you put in $100, they'll match your $100. So you'll have $200 to play with. And when you do that, make sure to use the promo code KFTV when you sign up for an instant deposit. Like I said, for a match up to $100. So make sure to use the promo code KFTV.
I know a lot of people are gonna be tight, Alex, because I see I'm looking at CP's ticket.
Yeah.
And like, I know a lot of people put a lot of money on LeBron James tonight. His number was 28.5 points. I can only imagine how many thousands of people put a LeBron James in their ticket and took the over. Because you're thinking LeBron James been scoring like 40 every game now, ever since he's close to the all-time mark. And he takes a day off, he's at the Garden. Everybody thought he was gonna hit 40 tonight. And then he scores 28. Oh, man, I know a lot of people.
You got to go with the points, rebounds, and assists. The points, rebounds, and assists. This man's the point guard of that team. That's why you got to do it.
Yeah, I would have taken him on the points. That's why I know a lot of people will be tight tonight.
Oh, man. Well, better luck next time, CP. Better luck next time. All right, back to the Discord. Oh, here we go. Harrison Dolan, we're bringing you in. What's going on, Harrison? How you doing today?
Hey, me?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Oh, hey.
Harrison Dolan.
How you doing? I didn't know I was put through, but how you doing tonight, guys?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Tough loss, but appreciate you taking my call for sure. If you're watching, hit the like button. So, yeah, my apologies. I went into overtime with my takes the other day, so I'm going to keep it real short tonight. I was just talking with a friend of mine today, and we were talking about Quickley and Grimes. And I want to know really, like, what are the differences in their games where Grimes was kind of just unspokenly assumed to just roll into that starting spot while Quick was on the bench, So on the surface, they're both good at threes. They both drive to the basket, good defenders, rebounders. And Quickley's kind of a better facilitator as far as I can tell. But Grimes kind of seems like he's regarded a bit higher by the fan base and by the NBA media in general. So just want to have your take on Grimes and IQ. I know they're both great players, but what kind of separates them from each other in terms of play style? Thanks for taking my call, guys.
Appreciate it, Harrison. Have a good one. I don't know. That's kind of like, I guess what I would say for the decision with Grimes over Quickley is that we've seen Quickley in that backup role for more. We've seen Quickley in that backup role since he's come to the Knicks, right? And I think with him, you look for him to be that spark. The question, it was never like, we know his defense got better, but the things that we didn't know coming into the season was he going to drive that much? He's driving actually at a pretty good rate because he didn't drive that many times into the lane as a rookie. Now he's up to somewhere between 7 to 8 drives per game, getting close to those double digits. Then you also have his shooting, which has been very consistent over this last couple of weeks. So I think it was more so his ability to consistently shoot, but also like the defensive versatility, right? Like, I think with Grimes, it's not what I think. Is when you watch it, Grimes has been put onto Pascal Siakam. You're asking him to guard Kyrie. You're asking him to do a lot of things. And for right now, you're not asking a lot of offense from him. And when Quickley's out there, yes, he's giving you great defense and he can score as well. But I think the idea is that you don't want to tire him out where you're not getting the offense from him. And I think you'd rather put all that pressure on Grimes to just be a 3-D player. And if he gives you something else throughout the night like he did tonight, you kind of take that as a win. That's my thought on the whole situation.
Everything you just said about IQ in terms of you just basically described the progression of his game, of his development. First year, He had those, remember those crazy floaters? He would come off, he'll get a pick and he'll throw floaters from the free throw line. How many fans remember that? And people start calling him a chucker and this and that because that's the first impression we got from him is these wild shots. And a lot of times, half of the times he would make it, but when he didn't, they didn't look good. And that rookie year, he was a bad defender. He didn't come into the league as a plus defender. And then year 2, saw a little bit better progression in terms of he decreased that. And then now you see more of a complete balanced offensive game and he's more controlled. I say that because I'm going to have the same patience with Grimes. Grimes is going through the same progression that IQ had, where, you know, it's going to take time. And right now, like what you see now, even tonight, right? He was 0-5 from 3. That's frustrating to see. How about the inconsistency of he has a possession, he drives at the wrong possession, and then you saw plays tonight where he did the same play the right times. So he's still trying to evaluate and just pick his spots in terms of when I'm open to 3 and someone's closing hard on me, do I take the shot or do I drive to the basket? That's going to be a progression for him. Same thing with IQ, where IQ was figuring out when do I shoot the floater? What's the correct distance from the basket that I should shoot the floater? He used to jump into people for fouls. Now he's more controlled. He's more effective doing it. He's smarter in doing it. Grimes is going to go through the same progression. I just hope that we're patient enough with these players because the team is going into this win now kind of mentality with the front office and the coach. But we also have players that you just have to be patient with, just like you were patient with IQ. Now you're seeing IQ now is at a point where people think, people want him to start. That was not the conversation last year or the year before. It was a conversation last year because Burks was the point guard, but it was more of let's see him play. Let's see what he has. This year, there's no dispute. Like IQ's making a case. But that took a few years. Grimes is going through the same thing. So I think you have 2 very good players, and that's why the whole OG thing is interesting, and I think it connects with RJ too, because I think it does have an effect on Grimes if you do trade for an OG, at least short.
Yeah, man. As CP says, not everyone is going to be part of this team moving forward, but I agree with you on that. It's going to take Grimes some time, but I think for right now, Grimes is. You want that height in the starting rotation, but look, Quickley's going to close, which is a more important part of that game, man. That's where you want to see it. But let's get back to the Discord. We got D Block 1755 on the line with us. D Block, what's going on, man?
Hear me?
Yes, sir. What's going on?
Good evening, fellas. Let's get to the heart of the matter. Tibbs shows no accountability whatsoever. I'm so tired of hearing him says we have to go see the videotape. He don't make no in-game adjustments. And even if we got OG, do I really want him? He's a good player. But you tell me, and I got a good question for you. In the 4 years he's been here, who has really developed? So if we got OG, will he develop him right? I just don't see it. I got a question. He don't hold Randall accountable for nothing. Randall does whatever. I watch these games every night, and it frustrates me that he dribbles this ball, this coaching staff, somebody has to hold this man accountable for the way this team played. He calls bonehead plays, so that's why my team does what they do. I'm a diehard Knicks fan, and it hurts me every other night when I watch this team. How do you call timeouts, and we usually turn the ball over?
Do you like the way Quickley's been playing, and do you like the way the Grimes has been playing?
I do, but I love the way Grimes played. Just he rushes his 3-pointers.
So do you think that's more of a Tibbs thing, or do you think that's just all the players by themselves, or do you think Tibbs is putting him in position to do better?
I think it's more with practicing, because even like right now, you look at this team, RJ can't guard nobody. He brings in Mr. Tippy Toe, and I'm referring to iHeart. He can't jump. He guards nobody. Why are we not playing a zone? If we played the zone, this would help the players who has lack of defense. I'm telling you, if we play the zone, this will help. He has no accountability. He makes no in-game adjustments. And exactly what JD said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
We got enough time. Why are you putting the ball in Randall's hand? Randall is a turnover waiting to happen. I just Tibbs drive me crazy. I'm sick of the front office. And the whole thing with Redis, we gave up a first round pick. If we was a second round, I wouldn't be. But the man is sitting on the bench. And you know what? That's why I gotta question the front office, because y'all made this trade. And if you had an issue with Redis, you should have figured that out last year. You bring the man in, and even with Obi, it hurts, it pains me. I see Obi always on the perimeter, just want to shoot three. His game is not developing. So you should trade him, because Obi, you're not using him right. And I'm telling you right now, you trade Obi, you trade Redis, I promise you, wait till they get on another team. And when they play us, they're gonna go off. Because Tibbs is not he don't make the adjustments. We need a better coach. And I heard you, I keep saying, well, if we got rid of Tibbs, there's a lot of other coaches. You could bring in a Utah Jazz former coach. You could get Mark. I'm telling you, he's not a player's coach. He always look angry. He yells. How you take Obi out after a couple of minutes? I don't even think he gave Redis a fair chance. And it's a crying shame we got to trade for a wing when you got a 6'8" wing sitting there. You put that on the side. You a coach. And you got assistant coaches. You let them coach. You let them coach these players properly. So if we bring in OG, you think that's gonna make a difference? I can't see that unless you bring in an established player ready to go. Something like we'd have got Mitchell Donovan.
All right. What's your name, man? What's your name? Where are you calling him from?
My name is Derek. I'm from the Bronx. I'm just a passionate Knicks fan. I sit here, I watch these games, I listen to the show, and it just frustrates me. And you know what? Winning sometimes cover a lot of things, and lately that's what it is. Because come on, Randall, come on. He has no IQ. He doesn't make nobody better. And truth be told, that's where the issue runs in with RJ too.
All right. Appreciate your call, Derek. Appreciate you calling in. That's Derek from the BX.
My man
had a lot to say. And I'm going to throw that to the chat. Chat. Rate that call in the chat. 5 being facts, 1 being trash.
My
Where
man
are you
was
going with that right now?
My man was so hype. There's a new player called Mitchell Donovan in the NBA.
Mitchell Donovan. There we go. He's no, you know what he did? He put the last name with the comma, then the first name, man. He's going, professional.
Maybe we could have gotten Mitchell Donovan.
Mitchell Donovan. That guy.
Yeah, he said a lot of things. One of the things two takeaways from his call. Number one, when he talked about decision making in key situations, this team continues to show offensively and defensively in key situational basketball. We don't make sound decisions. We don't know how to close games. We don't know how to close quarters. We don't know how to play effectively or make a good decision. And it's a lot of low IQ basketball going out there in key situations. And so it's going to be interesting to see how you get better there. And I think that's where coaching comes into play. When you see deficiencies on your roster, your personnel on the floor, you have to lead your team. You have to lead late game situations. You have to go in with a plan. Like, okay, do you want to say Julius Randle's a low IQ player? All right, then don't put him in situations where he has to make decisions. I want to say it's simple. It's really not that simple, but you can design situations to where you don't expose the deficiencies of your team in situational basketball. The second thing that he said there was Tibbs. He reminds me a lot of Joe Judge. I don't know if fans really watch the MSG Network's post-game interviews. One thing I hate about the way Tibbs does post games, and it has not been talked about. And I mentioned it privately to CP. I said, I hate every time we lose and they ask Tibbs certain questions about certain situations. He always says, well, you know, I got to watch the film before I can answer that. I got to watch the film. I got to watch the tape. I got to watch the film. You know, I got to take a look at that before I can say. And then what happens is he takes the next game comes and he doesn't get asked about that question again because he knows he's not going to ask. The next game, you're going to ask him questions about that game. So he's getting away with that. It's a smart strategy. Like you say, well, I got to take a look at the film. Well, the Knicks play the Heat or whoever they play in a day or so, and by the time that day comes, I'm not going to get asked about that again. And Joe Judge used to do that, and fans used to get tight. And I think eventually that type of behavior does not end well with the fans because smart individuals.
Especially in New York. In New York, we catch on quick, man. Look, you're already calling it what it is.
Because sometimes they do ask him a decent question, and I look forward to the answer. And he goes, "Well, I got to take a look at that."
Well, who'll give you the thoughtful, detailed answer that you're looking for, JD? Evan Fournier.
Oh yeah,
you know that for a fact. You know he's going to speak whatever's on his mind. I actually appreciate honesty like that, man, and going into like details and break it down. I actually do respect stuff like that. But hey, that's what the coach we got right now, man. I'm getting to the point where it's like I'm starting to see the ceiling, and we're getting ready, man.
You're a Tibbs reporter. You love Tibbs.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. You can call me an apologist. You can call me all those things. All right, but I'll say this: be like Tibbs, exactly as that graphic says. No, but in all seriousness, like as you start watching this team win, and you're like, especially when we played the Nets, man, and we see how that offense just moved with Jacques Vaughn. And how it just was so crisp, the rotating on defense. Like you just saw how everyone just was bought in. It's starting to move at it's like butter, man. Like you're watching this unfold, and I'm like, why can't we do that? And then when you have to start seeing the heroics of these players in crunch time, man, when you watch Jalen Brunson for the most part, and you're seeing guys just do stuff, and you're like, that wasn't part of the scheme. That wasn't part of that. What's going on here? So, like, you see the talent of this team is, like, reaching the ceiling with the coach. And I'm like, what would a new coach do? You know, you look at Utah, they got a new head coach out there. Even though they're in the Wemby sweepstakes once again, they're competing at a high level. You know what I mean? Like, at least in a night in and night out basis. Not turning to wins, but at least they're competing. You know what I mean? I look at other teams, I see these young coaches coming in, ones that we were talking about this all stage, like the names that we used to be like, oh, who are the names out there? Oh, is it Mark Jackson? Is it Phil Jackson? Who's out there that we can go get? Right now, it's like Quinn Snyder, as the caller said. So,
and I hate that when people be like, well, who's a better option out there? Who's a better option out there? Like that's so cliche-ish and old school. Who's the better option? Like. Just because Tom Thibodeau may be a bigger name than some of these young players, young coaches, other young candidates, it's a new era. Like, just look at the NFL. Like, there's no longer these established names that are getting a lot of these positions. It's going to a lot of coordinators. It's going to a lot of young guys. People, you're taking risks. Look at Utah. You go from Quinn Snyder. You could have said the same question. Who's a better option out there? They're overachieving this year, and that wasn't even their plan. So look at Udoka. You think the Nets looking at the Nets, Udoka was an assistant on their coaching staff, and then they try to hire him. And do you think when the Celtics hired him, they thought from Brad Stevens, who's the better option? Just because, you may have a bigger name doesn't necessarily mean that if you make a move, it's you're downgrading. All you're doing is really changing philosophy. Just like Steve Nash. Steve Nash was a way better player than Jacques Vaughn. Steve Nash is coming from a little bit of the Golden State. He had those connections. Kevin Durant, like a lot of things tell you Steve Nash is going to be a way better coach than Jacques Vaughn. Somehow, Jacques Vaughn got the opportunity, and they're defending. they're playing better defense now.
Kyrie is locked in, man. Kyrie is locked in.
And look at Kyrie now since all that stuff. I haven't heard no Kyrie drama, nothing.
He is locked in.
So sometimes, yes, when you think about, other names and you look at Tom Thibodeau, it can, I can understand you saying, well, Tom Thibodeau's experience, this and that and the fourth. Man, you got to take some risks sometimes. Forget all that. Because a game like tonight, I can understand the fan that says, we should be better. I understand we're over 500. We should be a few games even better than 500. I can understand people saying, did Tibbs need more players tonight? We didn't need OG tonight. We didn't need not Donovan Mitchell to win tonight.
We had enough on the Cavs, my man.
The Lakers.
Yo, we're 2-1 on the Cavs right now in this season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's going to be an interesting topic for months to come, because I don't think Tibbs going to get fired this year anyways.
We'll see, man. And the thing is that he's a Knicks fan from the tri-state area. It's tough because you want to see your guys go out there and succeed. The amount of work that he puts in, and you want to get behind all of that too, right? But then you start seeing, you get down to the product, you watch the night in and night out, and you start saying, what's happening here? You know what I mean? And I get second season, I'm always one for continuity because we're just so used to it. But when you're starting to see your team that we've had some continuity now for the last couple of years, 3-4 years, we've had some continuity outside of the head coach, players wise. You got to start evaluating, saying, what's the next move in order to get us to that level? Is it the player? Are the players talented enough? And the players are talented. We're above 500 still. You know what I mean? We're in these games. We're not getting blown out as we did early in the season. So the talent's there. It comes down to the execution and the finite things that, the small things, those tweaking, the adjustments, the in-game, all that stuff, where you start to get the most out of the players. But that's a conversation we can continue another day. We're about to wrap this show up soon, so make sure to check out Manscaped. Make sure to use the code KFTV. All right, get that 20% off. All right, we all got Manscaped over here. JD, CP, myself. We love it. Highly recommend it. Make sure to use the KFTV promo code to get 20% off and free shipping and handling. Now let's go to the last caller of the night, the closer, BB Shark. BB Shark. What's going on, man? How you doing? What's your name? Where you calling in from?
Oh snap! I'm closing.
Yes, you're the closer tonight.
Mariano Rivera.
This is Bobby from Utah, longtime listener, first time caller. Thank you for taking my call, guys.
What's going on, Bobby? How you doing?
I just wanted to call in two things that really ticked me off about this game. I know we missed Mitch, but why can't we finish our defense with rebounds? It was crazy. There were so many possessions where we just didn't fit. We played great defense and we just didn't rebound the ball. And yeah, just and then we had that one where Ihart tapped the ball out 4 times, and we just rush up threes. Why? Why couldn't we get a solid possession there? And then my second thing, I'm with the last caller, D-Block. Man, Brunson deserved that last shot in regulation. The way he was playing and the charge that he drew, he deserved that shot. That was on Tibbs. That's on Randall, man. I'm with Ari. I think we should sell high on him because he's not that dude when it counts. And I just want to close out with the Magic Johnson pass from Grimes to Ihart. That was the hypest play of the game. Thanks for taking my call, guys.
No doubt, man. Appreciate you calling in. Appreciate your support of the show. Hey, rebounding. How many times did I have to watch tonight the Lakers, and even us, man? We had 4 offensive possessions, and we couldn't knock down a shot. We chose 3-pointers. We could have just drove right in, man. I was besides myself watching all that unfold. I was like, how do we have, it's usually the other way around. The script's usually on us where it's they're about to get 4 offensive rebounds and we're not playing defense. Now we're playing defense, or I should say playing defense to get the offensive rebounds. And then now we're just choosing to be 3-point specialists when tonight's not the night. We're not hitting our 3-pointers, and yet that's the way we want to go out. That bothered me.
You want to shoot threes. The game has. I mean, just look at the Brooklyn Nets game. How many more threes they made over us and all that. So
22.
yeah,
22 threes, my man.
it's a game of threes now. But again, it's situational basketball. Every possession, you don't have to shoot a three, and every situation doesn't have to result in a three. And that was a very frustrating possession. The type of looks that we got, Randall shooting a contested three. I'm like, come on, man. It was frustrating. The Grimes thing he said is interesting because I think a game like tonight, Grimes shows you the potential. He goes 0 of 5 from 3, yet he still has 12 points. Why? Because of all those twos they hit. I mean, when a guy, you saw that reverse layup, did you see how athletic that play looked? How smooth that play looked? Those are plays that shows you ability. And that ability is what you take in the offseason and you expand on that skill set so that you can have a more complete game, a la what Emmanuel Quickley has done in his progression.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at a game like tonight, I think about, maybe a year from now, where Grimes' game could be at once he starts putting it together in terms of being able to hit the three and being able to attack the rim in terms of efficiently. I've always said this about IQ, and we're seeing it now. IQ has all the analytics in his favor, all the plus this and plus that and all this stuff. And I told my friend George and Keys from Sports Vibes TV, I always tell him this. I said the day that IQ starts hitting that three, the day that IQ starts actually being efficient, that kid is going to go to a new level. And we're seeing that now. Same thing with Grimes. Once Grimes starts hitting that three effectively and he puts it together with being able to drive, maybe we'll see Desmond Bane-like player, which is a player that I've compared Grimes a lot to in terms of potential where he could get at if he puts it together. So, hopefully we continue to see Grimes be more aggressive because I think he needs to be more aggressive. He's still a little too passive for me.
Yeah, how about those combo dribble moves he was trying to pull out today, trying to do the step back? Stuff like that, man. I want to see more of that because there's definitely another level that we have not seen. And I like the IQ, you're watching IQ progress and the frustration. This is what happens. I know we haven't really had draft picks like that to really watch grow and evolve. They're not even in their prime yet. They're still young. You know what I mean? So you're watching IQ, what he's doing right now this season, becoming more efficient, as you noted. Wait until Grimes becomes into his third. And this is really his first year getting a lot of minutes. This is like what, game 87, 88 for him? Think about that. He's finally played a little over a full NBA season right now. He finished last year with an injury. I'm looking forward to what Grimes can do for this team moving forward. Hopefully, you can keep Emmanuel Quickley around. Yeah, man.
This is a key week, Alex. You now lost 2 in a row, and you lost the first game tonight of is it a 4-game homestand? Because I know it's a week homestand. I know this whole week we're home. I don't know if we're home after this week going into next week, but I know what the next 3 games are at the Garden too.
Yep, we got Miami on Thursday. We got the Clippers on Saturday. First of a back-to-back with Philly on Sunday. And then they go on a small little road trip to Orlando and Philly the following week, and then they're back home for 2 games. But we're talking about, like we talked about at the beginning of the show, Miami, Clippers, Philly. It's a tough matchup this week, man. Tough matchup.
But I'm not trying to hear that.
I hear you. No, I hear you.
The Heat, go beat the Heat. They're right there with you. This is not like the Heat get all this crazy respect, exposed, the best coach in the NBA, and all this other stuff. They're not the same Heat in the past. They're not. The team is declining. They're not heading that way. Pat Riley's actually at a crossroads right now and trying to figure out what he's going to do with the team. Because you have Jimmy Butler getting up there in age. You have Victor Oladipo is not the same player as before. Kyle Lowry is, that W word. He's I don't want to say it, but car wash. He's getting there. It's not the same Heat team. I mean, come on, go beat the Heat. So I understand the Philly game is going to be tough, But when you beat the Cavs healthy, you go out and you beat the Celtics on the road. I'm at a point with this team, man. I'm not trying to hear excuses, bro. When you get some good wins, especially when you're home the whole week. Let's see you respond, man. You want to keep this coach, you know, this front office wants to back this coach and be a lawyer and all this stuff. Well, let's see it. Let's see this coach put this team in a position to win. They were in a position to win tonight, and it didn't happen. So let's go back and let's try to win on Thursday night.
You're asking for a team that's under 500 at home to have a good week at home. They're 12-14 right now, 15-11 on the road. We'll see, man. We'll see. Hopefully they can get some W's this week, bounce back on top. But that's it, man. That's it for this show. Thank you to Knicks Nation for tuning in. We got 1,000 of you tuning in right now, rocking with us. We appreciate you. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button for your boys. We got 265 likes right now from what I'm seeing on the YouTube channel. We need more likes than that. We got 1,000 of you watching. We need more likes than that. You know what else we need? We need you guys to make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 60K. We got 58.6 thousand subscribers right now. Let's make sure to get to 60K. Make sure to tell your friends, tell your family members, share this with your cats, your dogs, whatever pets you got. All right, tell them about the wave, tell them about the movement over here at KnicksFanTV. Make sure to chop up all the audio too. And if you can't listen and tune in on the YouTube channel, you know what else we got? We got all the podcast platforms too. Apple, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon, Alexa, Stitcher, you name it. We're located at all those platforms. So you got no reason to miss out on any of these shows. Also, we're not doing player ratings tonight. No need to do that. We're too angry to be doing that. So make sure to go check out KnicksFanTV.com. Make sure to go check out KnicksFanTV Remy's recaps. You can find them every day after a game has been played. He goes through in-depth analysis about every single player's performance, gives you a rating for all of them, even gives you what you've been asking all of us for, to give coaches ratings. He gives you a coach's rating. So if you want to know how he feels about Tom Thibodeau after each and every single game, make sure to go check it out. He'll give it to you right there. Pause.
Flagrant 3 to end the game. End the show.
Flagrant 3. Hey. So anyway, make sure to go check out KnicksFanTV.com. Make sure to support all of our sponsors, PrizePicks, Manscaped, Athletic Greens, you name it. We'll catch you later on the next show.
Hit them likes up. Hit them likes up. Let's get to 500 before we close up. And definitely thank you for supporting the show. And, you know, shout out to the mods. Shout out to everyone backstage. And shout out to the channel members for sure. Shout out to the channel members.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Stock Chasers. Thank you for everyone for supporting. Great show, man. Can't wait for the next one, Alex.
Facts. Salute to the mods, Knicks Nation. We appreciate all you. We'll catch you on the next one. We out.
Peace.